Up until very recently, Torox the Brass Bull was your only source of fire damage for the Beastmen. Now, of course, he's joined by the Chimera, which is a very strong single entity with flaming magic poison damage, and fire damage is something that's great to have in some specific matchups, particularly against Norsca, which has probably the most units that have innate weakness to fire damage, and like healing and other things. You know, Vampire Counts is also another highly ranked one for this type of a situation. But yeah, my idea here is to maximize fire damage. We've got Torox plus the double Chimera, Brave Shaman, Lord of Wild as well, coming in with just Traderkin, a little bit of Jagged Dagger also to increase my Winds of Magic generation early on, so that in case he gets killed, I can dump as much value as possible. We've got some Slangors here, Ungor Raiders, and some Spearman Herds. A couple of Centaurs hidden here in the woods as well. My opponent, Pigman, once again, he's got Riders of the Mighty Serpent and some Marauder Bearmen through the front line. Skinwolves with some armor, and some Norscan Ice Wolves with Sail, and double Famir Noble. Anti-large on these guys with Armor Sundering. The anti-large was added somewhat late in early access, so I haven't had too much of a chance to test it myself, but we'll see how they do here. Definitely interested. It's another anti-large hero for Norsca, if they didn't already need that, but a little bit of a different one than the Skinwolf Werekin. It kind of has, you know, a little bit of a different profile overall, but that support from the Armor Sundering can be very nice against a lot of different targets. Not that it will matter too much against the Beastmen. They're not necessarily known for having the best armor, but I'm kind of going to keep Pigman honest by threatening with the Chimeras in his backline. That way I can get some nice, clean frontline charges with the Slangors into his Bearmen. Should be a pretty decent trade for me. Hard to say. Bearmen have a lot of HP, but especially initially on the charge there, Slangors will do quite well. Throw a little breath attack and then just land with the Chimera directly on the Skinwolves. Considering that I'm very confident that I can win that fight, we've got some Ungor Spears as well out on the flanks to kind of move in to support the Chimeras. And then in the center, Torox getting ready to make his attack run. We've got Sail set in his sights, currently favored by the Matriarch. That nice little AoE buff from the Famir Noble. I guess that's the difference between him and the Skinwolf, right? Is he's got some more terror abilities. But Traderkin being dropped here as well should do some pretty good damage. Yeah, I'm trying to focus Sail as much as possible right here, although the Noble is a little bit of an issue, getting some damage on Torox. I also... Did I bring the Brass Body? I did bring the Brass Body, which I'm going to pop. Go ahead and get that damage, resistance, and other defensive buffs as he goes 3v1 versus these Norscan single entities. And now 3v2 with the Brave Shaman technically adding in there a little bit, but meanwhile in the back line I brought in my Centaurs and Spears, and we just got a big bloody mobile engagement here. I say mobile engagement, a lot of mobility units locked in to a somewhat static engagement, and Torox manages to extricate himself from the double Noble, come over and fight with the Chimeras, try and get maybe more of a 3v2 if I can, or yeah. I guess it would be a 3v2, because ain't no way Sail's running into that combat now. We've also got the Riders of the Mighty Serpent hanging around. Of course, they've got a little bit of anti-large on their javelins and magic damage, which won't actually matter here. There's nothing with physical resistance, but the anti-large certainly will matter. Meanwhile, frontline engagement didn't go great for me. I mean, it was kind of a wash, but the HP of the Bearmen ends up pulling out, and, you know, the leadership of my Slangors also kind of lets me down a little bit there, so he's going to overrun into the Ungor Raiders, but the Brave Shaman on his chariot can help support that engagement while we keep all the single entity value concentrated. Again, both Pigman and I just kind of locked in. Neither of us wants to disengage and take the free damage here, so we're both just pouring in resources. Actually do manage to get one of the Chimeras up in the sky here. We're going to try and line up a breath attack right on these Skinwolves. You see a bunch of their unit models just straight dropping there. Try and get them off the field. Blood Shriek also doing a really nice job. Another Traderkin going to be used there. Nasty miscast damage, though, on the Brave Shaman, and he also gets caught by multiple units of Skinwolves, which is not great. But I do have some Slangors coming back from route, and then plus the Raiders. I'm pretty confident I can beat back whatever Bearmen remain. But at this point, we do have the 3v2 that I wanted. And that does mean I'm pretty confident that we can beat the Famir here. Even these Skinwolves, I guess technically contributing a little bit. They're very likely going to rout soon. Marauders the Serpent. I'm going to pop their little AoE buff here. Get some extra leadership, try and help these skin wolves stay in the fight. But let's see, more skin wolves charging in. Other Famir Noble had been terror-routed away. Looks like he got beat up pretty badly, so single entity fight definitely going in my favor, but Torox does also rout here, having taken way too much damage. He's tanked a lot of damage. But yeah, he gets routed off. Both the Chimeras are pretty low, although the Regiment of Renown has plenty of capacity to heal itself. Little wind blast there from Sail, trying to stay alive, but he strayed a little bit too close. And the Slangor is also moving in to support. Sail's going to get chomped there and terror-routed, and that's pretty much game. I mean, technically the Riders of the Serpent, I think, might fight a little bit longer, but no, Sail gets killed there, and that's it. Big Man will throw in the towel. So, yeah, I mean, Chimeras are just great in general. I don't know if the tournament rules committees will end up limiting them to just one per army. I think it'd be a little bit sad just because I love them so much, but I acknowledge they're incredibly strong. And in particular against Norsca, where all three of their damage types apply, right? The magic damage to cut through physical resistance, the fire damage for extra damage against applicable targets, and poison is just universally good. But, yeah, all three of those have a place in this matchup, and especially where a lot of Norscan units have pretty good weapon strength, that poison really is quite nice to have here. And, yeah, I mean, just the combination of them, like, Torox didn't do that much damage himself, but between Brass Body and his own HP pool, he was able to soak a lot of the damage of the enemy, kind of provide a little bit of an anchor for that engagement. And then, yeah, Slangor's got some good engagements, kind of got crumped a little bit there by Bearmen as well. Same thing, like the Centaurs don't really do anything as they get hard countered by the Skin Wolves, but yeah, only one Skin Wolf even came close to paying for itself. The Ice Wolves, one Ice Wolf does a great job, but then the infantry has a little bit of a tough time from Norsca. I like Bearmen, but they are just a light infantry at the end of the day. They're not like world beaters by any means, so they weren't really going to do too much to carry the game here, but definitely a fun one. Definitely a very interesting one. Yeah, as for other matchups like the Chimera, I haven't really tried. Beastmen versus Vampire Counts historically has been a tough one for the Beastmen because of leadership, but yeah, if we go ahead and take a look here, one interesting thing to note, and I didn't realize this until I casted the Domination Tournament the other day, but there is actually another creature that has immune to flanking. We talk about these guys versus Vampire Counts. Yeah, the Vargolf, I don't know when this guy got immune to flanking, but makes it that much better of a single entity. And Vargolf, yeah, I mean, if we compare these two, it's somewhat comparable, although, of course, the Vargolf is on the ground. Has a lot less weapon strength, but it has very fast attack interval, and yeah, also has passive healing. But other than that, they're honestly kind of comparable units. Of course, Vargolf also has a lot more health, and doesn't have the flaming magic poison damage, which is another thing, and no breath attack as well, but, you know, a little bit cheaper. Yeah, that was a little bit of an aside. I mostly just wanted to point out that Vargolfs also have immune to flanking, which I didn't realize. But overall, yeah, there's quite a few units here. You know, Ethereals, like Beastmen, don't have the best access to magic damage just on their units. Granted, they have Sangors now, so you probably, you know, Centaurs of Zinj, Sons of Goros, you have a few units with magic damage, so you're probably not super likely to see a lot of Ethereals, but Chimeras are there just in case. Yeah, the fire damage is applicable against a bunch of things, everything that has this standard regeneration trait, like these Crypt Horrors, right? They would definitely get bullied by the Chimeras, so yeah, potential for some good synergy there. And the breath attacks also might be decent against Vampire Counts. The fact that they also cause terror, immune to flanking, they're not going to get subjected to some of the leadership issues that you might have in this matchup. I don't know, I mean, historically, have flying single entities been super good at the Vampire Counts? Hard to say, at least. Yeah, I'm just thinking through right now. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be, like, crazy good, but this is definitely a matchup where I might consider something like that as well. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments below. What other matchups do you think might be applicable? Maybe Wood Elves, although they don't actually take their units, which are weak to fire, because they're not very good. Maybe besides Dryads, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.